Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Madam Muferihat Kamil, Minister of the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the host country. Excellency, Ministers of Member States, Excellency Delegates, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the second day of Africa's Job Creation Forum, proudly hosted by the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the African Union Commission, and also the AE Trade Group. I trust that you had a restful night after that exuberant evening at the Friendship Park, where many of you flaunted your dancing and musical talents. And I hope that that helps to recharge us for yet another impactful day today as we reconvene for Africa Job Creation Forum 2025 here at the Adwa Victory Memorial. Just to give us some energy and to start the day, let's shout out some of the buzzwords, the words that we heard, the words that still ring in our minds. So you can randomly shout out words. Who can do that? Let me hear some words that you remember from yesterday. Not the evening, but during the day. Yeah? Job creation, I think I heard that. Implementation, wonderful. Integration, did we hear that? Yeah? Yeah, working together. What else? Lots of things. Inclusion, gig economy, digital transformation, what have you. There were lots and lots of very, very important and pertinent issues that we discussed. Yes, day one, we witnessed how regional integration, digital transformation, and inclusive trade are vital levers for decent job creation in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, today we shift our focus to the transformation of Africa's labor markets, the power of digital infrastructure, and the need to align investment, innovation, and skills with Africa's evolving economic landscape. So let's begin day two. Are you ready? Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Let me just walk you through what we have in store for us today as we start this second day of the Africa Job Creation Forum 2025. Here at the Pan-African Hall, we have, because we have 3 sessions this morning going in parallel, what happens here is on transformation of labor markets in Africa, which is here at the Pan-African Hall. At the same time, we have parallel sessions on Africa jobs scenarios, reimagining work for Africa's next generation, which will happen at Adwa Hall, right upstairs. And still another parallel session there, transforming agri-food systems into engines of job creation. That will happen at Hidasi Hall. These 2 halls are next to each other upstairs. So you can pick any of your preferred sessions and join there. But here we'll have the labor market landscape being discussed. A reminder of our exhibition as well. There are amazing products that you would like to have a look and maybe take some souvenirs home. Right outside in the next building in front of this, there is a gymnasium. That's where we have the exhibition and display of amazing local products and souvenirs. You can have a look. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Africa's labor markets are changing fast. New technologies, globalization, and demographic shifts are reshaping the nature of work. This morning's session, therefore, will dive deep into what it takes to equip Africa's workforce for the future with skills, data, and strategic policies. We will start the session with a keynote address by His Excellency Ato Solomon Soka, State Minister of the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, who I now have the honor to call on stage to make his keynote address. Please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. I should say welcome to the land of origins, the land of the cradle of humanity, where the life began from the very beginning, the land of the longest river, Nile, in the world, the land of coffee. I hope you had a nice coffee this morning. Welcome. Excellency Waziri Muferiat Kamil, Minister of the Ministry of Labor and Skills, Excellencies, distinguished honorable ministers, esteemed members of PRC, heads of delegations, partners, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It is both an honor and profound privilege to stand before you today at this pivotal gathering, a forum dedicated to shaping Africa's future through bold action and unwavering commitment. I'm deeply inspired by the presence of visionary leaders, dedicated public servants, and innovative private sector champions who share a common purpose, transforming Africa's vast potential into tangible progresses. Today, I wish to celebrate the remarkable resilience and ingenuity of our continent, especially the women whose leadership in digital innovation and financial inclusion continues to uplift commitments, shape policies, and ignite growth across Africa. Their unwavering dedication exemplifies the spirit of transformation that defines us. Africa at a crossroad of opportunity. We stand at a defining moment in Africa's journey. Rich resources, diverse in culture, and storied in history, our greatest asset remains our people. Our youth, vibrant and full of promise, embody both a challenge and an extraordinary opportunity, a demographic dividend waiting to be unleashed. Yet, despite this immense potential, our small, medium-sized enterprises, the engines of our economies, face persistent barriers. Limited access to affordable finance, insufficient digital and trade infrastructure, fragmented regulatory landscapes, systemic obstacles confronting women entrepreneurs, especially in the informal sector. These hurdles are real, but they are not insurmountable. They should ignite in us a sense of urgency, a call to action. Across Africa, from Ethiopia to every corner of our continent, governments, development partners, and innovators are rising to meet these challenges with resolve and purpose. However, investment alone is not enough. We must channel our resources into scalable systems, ones that create jobs, build skills, and catalyze enterprise-led growth. Our collective efforts must be strategic, inclusive, and forward-looking. The power of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, a catalyst for transformation. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, stands as a historic milestone, a platform with the power to revolutionize how we trade, collaborate, and prosper. Its promise is profound, lifting millions of our poverty, fostering regional integration, and laying the foundation of a people-centered economy. For Ethiopia and our fellow nations, this opportunity must be harnessed through targeted investments in skill development, entrepreneurial ecosystems, digital infrastructure, and trade facilitation. Ethiopia's commitment to a new era of labor market transformation. Here in Ethiopia, we have placed the skills development and labor market modernization at the core of our economic reform agenda. With over 70% of our population being youth, we are acutely aware that our future depends on creating sustainable, meaningful livelihood for our young people. Through the Ministry of Labor and Skills, we are advancing a comprehensive strategy that includes expanding technical and vocational education aligned with strategic sectors, promoting digital literacy and entrepreneurial skills practically among women and youth, developing labor market information systems to guide policy and investment, and building pathways into high-growth sectors, agriculture, industry, services, including ICT. Building partnerships for scalable impact. Transforming our vision into reality requires trusted strategic partnerships. Ethiopia is working closely with continental and global allies to craft solutions that are scalable, inclusive, and rooted in local realities. One such partnership is with the AE Trade Group. Their digital ecosystem, comprising platforms like AE Learning, Sokoku.Africa, and AE Trust, offers practical tools that bridge gaps in skills, markets, and finance. Together, we are implementing initiatives such as Digital Trade Advisors, DTA program, and the Change the Mindset training series, programs that equip young Africans with the confidence and knowledge to thrive in the digital economy. Our commitments include scaling the DTA program nationally, mobilizing graduates to support digital adoption among small and medium enterprises, embedding digital trade education into our curricula, and investing in innovation hubs that foster entrepreneurship and technological advancement. These efforts exemplify our belief that labor market transformation must be systemic, deeply embedded in our policies, institutions, and communities. a continental vision anchored in collaboration. Our partnership with the African Union Commission and the endorsement of initiatives like this forum reaffirm our continent's collective resolve to build inclusive, accessible digital and financial systems that empower all Africans. This gathering exemplifies that what is possible when governments, the private sector, and development partners unite around shared goals. We are not here merely for dialogue. We are here to forge a movement, one that drives job creation, skills development, and inclusive prosperity across Africa. In closing, delivering on the promise of our people, Excellencies, colleagues, friends, esteemed delegates, Africa's future will not be shaped solely by policies and frameworks. It will be defined by how effectively we prepare, empower, and mobilize our people, our greatest asset. Let's move forward with purpose and resolve to invest in our people, systems, and platforms that generate value, to foster regional cooperation and dismantle barriers to opportunity, to empower youth and entrepreneurs at every level, and to scale solutions that are practical, impactful, and rooted in the needs of our communities. Public-private partnerships exemplify the innovative spirit needed to address youth unemployment and unlock our continent's potential. Ethiopia is proud to walk this journey alongside our partners, guided by principles of inclusion, integration, and impact. Together, let us build an Africa where every young person finds meaningful work, every entrepreneur thrives, and every woman leads with dignity and confidence. Thank you for unwavering commitment, your visionary leadership, and your shared dedication to shaping brighter future for Africa and its people. Together, we can and we must create an Africa of opportunity, hope, and limitless potential. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Ato Solomon Soka, State Minister at the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, for that keynote address, setting the tone and the scene for the upcoming panel here. Just again, a reminder, especially for those of you who've just joined us, a reminder of the sessions we have this morning. We have 3 parallel sessions, including this one. Here we have the session on the transformation of labor markets in Africa. And another one at Adwa Hall upstairs is Africa Jobs Scenarios, Reimagining Work for Africa's New Generation. And the third one at the third session would be at Dase, and the other one at Adwa. They are next to each other anyway, transforming agri-food systems into engines of job creation. So if you prefer to go to any one of those, you can still have some time to go. Now we'll be dealing with the one we have here at Pan Africa Hall. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to introduce Mr. Nabil Kelo, who is a moderator for this session, to introduce the topic and the panelists, to say a few words about Atul Nabil. He is actually known to be a leader in private sector innovation. He has a big reputation for introducing international standards to local consulting industry. Nabil brings a strong investment and advisory background, having previously worked in the UK as an equity analyst at Beacon and Woodrow, where he specialized in corporate governance and fund management advisory for institutional investors. He has also worked with McKinsey and Company and served on the project management committee of Capital Link. Through First Consult, which he manages at the moment, he has pioneered youth-focused and enterprises development initiatives in Ethiopia. He holds a BSc degree in management from the University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, and also is a CFA Level 3 candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Nabil Kelo to take on this panel, introducing the panelists and leading us to the next 1 hour of session. Thank you so much.
I'll start here and I will introduce. Good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this panel. We have an exciting panel today about the transformation of labor markets. Labor markets are going through a profound transformation already. The ways that the millennials and the boomers went to work by going into a city, looking at a job board or standing in a line looking for work for construction. This is not the way that Gen Z and in future Gen Alpha will be going to work. The nature of work is changing because of digital technologies, innovations, but also changes in business models. So we're going to be talking today a bit about how the nature of work and business is changing and how labor markets need to change and adapt accordingly. We have an esteemed panel that will be having a discussion. First, though, we will have a presentation or a case study about the Ethiopian labor market information system, which is critical to the functioning of people being able to decide, how do I get skilled? What skills do I need? Where is the job? How do I get a job? You know, a job search can today be done sitting in bed on a phone. But without Sabelo Bokazi, the head of Labor, Employment and Immigration at the AUC. Honorable General James Hoth Mai, Minister of Labor of the Republic of South Sudan. Professor Bailey Damte, Vice Chancellor, Kepler College, AUC representative. Do we have Professor? I don't see. Okay, we'll continue. Professor Eshetu Girum, Addis Ababa University. Dr. Gashau Haile, Vice President, Ethiopian Aviation Academy University. Welcome. So let me start by inviting Ato Berhanu Ailka, Manager of the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System from the Ministry of Labor and Skills. Let's give a round. applause. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brahanu Alaka, and I represent the Ministry of Labor and Skill of Ethiopia. Today, I will dive into the fascinating case study of the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System, or ALMIS. I have a few presentations. We will see how our labor market are managed, and key to our understanding how the ALMIS fits into the broader context of our labor market transformation. Okay. So transforming the Ethiopian labor market through a digital system, I'm really pleased to be here and discuss the Ethiopian progress in utilizing the digital system to transform the labor market. And our National Labor Market Information System, LMIS, is a system plays a crucial role in how we collect, manage, and apply and shape our policy, improve service, and promote quality employment opportunity. So before the launch of ALMIS, labor market information in Ethiopia was fragmented across multiple institutions. This made difficult to access consistent, up-to-date, and actionable data. So to solve this, we built the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System, not just as a data storage or some kind of repository, but it's a national digital platform that connects all labor market actors. It provides a single sign-in access point for employers, employees, and policymakers, allowing each to use up-to-date service while contributing to more connected and transparent labor ecosystem. In Ethiopia, the development of ALMIS is not a standalone effort. It's grounded in our broader labor and employment reform agenda. It directly supports our national strategy for creating decent jobs and managing labor migration more effectively and safely. So what makes LMIS significant? So it's designed in alignment with international labor standards set by ILO, and it also supports regional integration goals under AU, especially in relation to labor mobility. I think, and I believe our experience in building this system offers a valuable lesson for other fellow African countries. So to dive into the LMIS system overview, this system developed by the Ministry of Labor and Skill as a transformative web-based national labor platform. First, it's important to note our labor market information system has 23 modular microservices and 5 core service categories. These components work together to support a critical area like evidence-based policy making and job creation. Second, this is important this platform is fully integrated with other government services, including the Ethiopian National ID and other digital government infrastructure. So this integration is very important for seamless functionality and comprehensive data management as a nation. So the Ethiopian labor market information
is structured around 5 service areas, each designed to support evidence-based decision-making, service delivery, policy coordination across the labor market. For example, the policy data insights, we have 4 services, provide a real-time analytics and visualization for policymakers to track employment trend, monitor labor migration, and evaluate the impact of national labor strategy. In terms of job creation, we have around 5 facilitation services to support job matching through the platform like our national job portal, overseas employment, promotes remote work opportunities, and to help align job seeker with labor demand. In terms of industry peace, we have around 4 services that will enable us as an institution to monitor labor disputes, and industrial relation. In terms of skill development, we have 4 services that links labor demand and data with the TVET institution, support workforce planning, and identify the skill gap to guide curriculum reform and training investment. As a labor market data production, ALMIS continuously generates real-time data on the labor force by region, sector, gender, and skill level, providing dynamic, evidence-based national development planning. So the other most important thing, LMIS was designed with a long-term scalability and security in mind. We adopted a modular microservice architecture that allows us to add, upgrade, or remove a service without disrupting the entire system. Importantly, the entire platform was developed by the Ethiopian professionals using the local capacity. This gives us the full technical ownership and the ability to continuously improve the system based on our national needs. We also use the Kubernetes for deployment, which is a cloud-native approach, and that ensure flexibility, stability, and efficiency. I think this is something relatively unique for a government system across Africa. Through the secure APIs, LMIS integrated with external platforms such as a national ID, immigration, and TVET system to ensure that the services are interconnected and data flows smoothly across different government institutions. So a major achievement of the ALMIS, the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System, is our real-time labor market dashboard. It provides instant access to a critical employment data, visualizing in the way that it is easy to understand and act on. For Ethiopia, this means a decision maker can track a labor demand and supply it involves, especially in priority sectors like ICT, agriculture, manufacturing, and tourism, and so on. So the dashboard also supports a better forecasting, planning, and policy design, and it's fully aligned with our job creation and skill development goal. Next, please. So since its operation in 2023, the ALMIS has grown significantly in Ethiopia. We now have over 2.8 million users, including job seekers, employers, public institutions, actively using the platform. More than 1,400 private recruitment agencies and over 1,200 employers have been on board, making the system a true marketplace for legal and decent employment. So one of our most impactful use of cases is in LMIS is overseas employment. The system is now central to how we track, regulate, and support the Ethiopian working abroad. Next. So I have a few video to show you some of our dashboard. As you are watching the system demonstration, I would like to go through four of our most impactful service within the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System. First, we began with the labor registration. As you can see, this is the foundation of our entire labor market intelligence system. Throughout a careful designed registration process, we collect structured information to allow us to categorize every individual in the labor force by skill, location, industry, and preference, and more. To ensure accuracy and to be inclusive, we have integrated biometric registration. Our system is capable of matching over 20 million records per 5 seconds, under 5 seconds. That scale, allows us to support a national initiative, ensure integrity and better understanding of the Ethiopian labor market dynamics. So this is how we register our labors. So second, we have the National Job Portal, one of the most important digital platform. It's an employment service platform. In many African countries, finding a job can be time-consuming and costly and somehow frustrating. Ethiopia has faced the same challenge. With the ELMIS, we offer a zero-cost platform that enable a real-time job matching, connecting job seeker with opportunity, both locally, internationally, and remotely, all through a single digital dashboard, as you can see. The platform is not only designed for job seekers, it also empowers employers to post opening, filter candidate, and recruit talent that help grow their business. In the meantime, they contribute to a national investment. So the third important dashboard I would like to show you is a demand management system. This tool is essential for shifting from a supply-driven to a demand-responsive human resource development. If our training and labor policy don't align with what the industry actually need, both in terms of quantity and quality, I think then we will face policy failure. LMS helps us to prevent that by allowing us to map real-time labor demand and align our education and training investment accordingly. So, as you can see, this is our demand management system. Yeah, so the fourth dashboard is our national labor pool. As you can see on the video, we also now have the capability to map a labor in Ethiopia in every part of the country, enabling a better understanding of our regional labor trend. By linking labor data to a geographical zones and a natural resource distribution, we can now design more precise and precise localized policy that respond to the unique reality of each region, whether it's agriculture or mining or so on. And this is just out of 23 microservices that we provide in the Ethiopia Labor Market Information System. LMIS is a single sign-in platform with a growing list of integrated services, including expat work permit system, e-learning and digital skill system, an enterprise registration and development system, an industrial peace and monitoring system, and Lucy e-commerce. Because the time of constraint, let me move to the next slide. As we look to the future, focus on expanding the reach and impact of LMS both nationally and regionally, one of our next priorities is to expand the system to include the diaspora skill tracking. We know many skilled Ethiopians live and work abroad, and we understand their profile can help us design a better reintegration program and leverage their expertise for a national development. We also see great value in connecting LMIS with other labor market systems across Africa. By enabling interoperability, we can create a more cohesive regional labor data ecosystem essential for promoting labor mobility under the African Union. So, my final slide, next. To conclude, I think Ethiopia experience shows the digital labor market system are not only possible, they are essential for achieving inclusive growth and sustainable job creation. LMIs empower policymakers, employers, and workers with real-time data, integrated service, and the national level coordination. What we have built in homegrown, aligned with our national priority, and designed with the flexibility to grow and adapt, I think we believe this journey offers a valuable insight for other African countries working toward digitized, transparent, and responsive labor market. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ato Berhanu. We've heard from Ato Berhanu how governments can really lean into the changes that are taking place in the workforce, in the new way of businesses, where many more jobs are being outsourced, freelancing is taking place, the gig economy is there. So we saw an example here of how a government can lean into those changes. And it's important, and our panel will talk about how countries can lead in organizing and making more efficient the labor market. The world is changing at a rapid, arguably the fastest pace it has ever changed at. And as we see with the demographic changes, we see with technological changes, the specific challenge of putting a young African population to work productively requires public infrastructure, it requires private investment on the part of businesses, and it requires academic and skill-based intervention. So my first question to our esteemed panel, and this is going to be an open question, I invite you to give your answer. And there'll be two questions, and then we'll continue into a discussion and open up for the audience. So I'll go in no particular order. Let me start by asking, in light of the technological advancement and automation, how can African countries ensure that labor market transformations don't exacerbate inequality, don't leave people behind, but actually serve as a platform for inclusive growth and dignified job creation? We may start, and we'll go from left to right.
Good morning. I was sitting back in there yesterday and listened to all keynote speakers and other representatives, counting on our African endowment. And I gather there are 4 huge endowments Africa has, which can have a competitive advantage. Number 1 is our farmland. From my gathering, from research, from literatures, I found out that 19% uncultivated arable land is in Africa. Number 2, mining. 30% of all mining reserve is in Africa, but we produce only 5 to 6% for the world. Number 3, the birth rate. We have 38 babies every year out of who born, 38 babies born every year out of 1,000. Number 4, Africa started farming 10,000 years ago, and Africa started mining 40,000 before Common Era, what we call BC. So we have a huge experience in farming and mining. And then the new disruption, what you call this AI, blockchain, big data, and Internet of Things, IoT, disrupt also farming and mining. So to me, what Africa needs to do is, because we have huge endowment, experience of more than 40,000 years and 10,000 years, we should focus restructuring within the farming industry and the mining industry. That's what I really want to reflect in this meeting. Structural change within the, if you take agriculture, structural change to make agriculture attractive to the young population. I heard yesterday more than 60% of our population is youth, under 25 years. So we need to make farming attractive to young youth. So how do we do it? Number one, using technological innovation and digitization. That means adaptation of high-tech solutions for farming, like precision farming, drones to monitor crops, soil sensors, and market access, and weather forecasting. So this will reduce uncertainty for young farmers, and then access to digital tools, providing affordable access to smartphones and internet connectivity and in rural areas, so we can empower our young farmers to engage with digital marketplace, access training, and then connect with buyers. The impact of all this is positioning agriculture as a modern, technological-driven sector. It can shift perception from being a low-status, labor-intensive job to an innovation and entrepreneurial field. The other one is value-add and agro-processing. That's very important. Shift from raw production to processing. That's agricultural-led industrialization, like food processing and textile and the like. And then support small-scale entrepreneurs. Government and private sectors should provide training, microfinance, and the like. And then access to finance and land is very, very important. Use-friendly financial products should be developed, like low interest barrier loans, grants, and the like. And then we need to change our land access reform. We need to change our land tenure system so that we make affordable for young youth to get land by, leasing or community shared land. So if we, all right, so that's my understanding.
Thank you. I want to give time for every panelist. Thank you. Please try to summarize the answer. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good morning. Your Excellencies, delegates, participants of the forum. I feel proud being this gathering and given a chance to air my views on this important issue, which is very useful for our youth population. My name is Shetu Gurmu. I'm from Addis Ababa University Center for Population Studies, and I want to address this issue from the point of view of academics because I want to talk about the job opportunities for my students. As a demographer, we are dealing with population issues by classifying our population into three broad categories. The children under 18, who are supposed to be dependents and required to go to school to acquire education. The working age groups, those in the 15 to 16, adults who are supposed to be in the labor force, and the elderly, 16 plus, who are supposed to be provided with care and support. Today, it's an important day because we are talking about job creation for those in the work group, especially for the young in their 15 to 24 age group who are mainly leaving schools upon graduation and entering the labor force to be productive to transform the economy of the continent. As mentioned by one of the panelists yesterday, about 30 million young persons are entering the labor force in Africa every year, and Ethiopia's new entrant in the labor force is between 2 to 3 million every year. Most of these entrants are graduates from universities, TVTs, and schools. The paradox, however, of these entrants lack basic skills that the labor market is demanding, and as a result of this, unemployment and unemployment rate is increasing in a number of African countries from time to time. Unemployment in African countries is a persistent and significant challenge for the young people because youth unemployment is notably higher than overall unemployment, specifically among graduates, because most of these people are job seekers than job creators. The challenge of young youth unemployment in Africa could be resolved with the expansion of technological advancement and automation, as they can easily benefit from the technological advancement and transformation of the labor market. This, I believe, would narrow the gap between the supply and demand of labor that we are observing in our nation. Creating job opportunities for African youth through the use of technology and automation requires focusing on three things: digital skill development, infrastructure investment, and fostering entrepreneurship. With regard to skill development with the education, we need to focus on four basic issues, I guess. The first one is curriculum reform. Updating educational curriculum at all levels to include digital literacy, coding, and other in-demand skills for the digital economy. The second one is providing digital skills training that specializes our youth in areas like analyzing data, visual design, and emerging technologies to equip them with the changing job market. The third is creating accessibility to minimize the effect of digital divide, and we need to ensure that the digital divide access would be minimized, particularly in underserved communities through online platforms and other infrastructure. The other is inculcating soft skills in the curricula, because our graduates need soft skills that enable them to be adaptive, critical thinkers, and problem solving whenever they are going into the labor market. This is what's demanded in nowadays, I guess. The second action that needs attention is creating more access to broadband internet access, because the young can learn a lot from the internet by accessing them, in addition to what they are learning in the classroom. This also requires expanding digital infrastructures all over the place so that everybody has an access to this infrastructure supplies, so that you can ensure the production of qualified and competent labor market in Africa, which is also competing globally. By focusing on these areas, African countries can harness the potential of technology and automation to create a more inclusive and prosperous future for the youth. In my view, African labor market must be framed within a broader social development lens. That means higher education institutions must transit from theory-based instructions to applied research and experimental learning. This calls for big revolution to transform the education system to be aligned with the demands of existing labor market. At Addis Ababa University, my employer, where I'm working here in Ethiopia, we are focusing on research to market pathways and university-industry collaboration that align students' skills with the real economy. In this sphere, recently the university has undergone a significant reform over the last 2 years and developed new curriculum to put in place and respond to the demand for the labor market in all sectors, with major emphasis on the need for cultural transformation, expansion of service sectors, and advancement of manufacturing sector. I think the role of academic institutions and reforms that they would undergo play a significant role to achieve the desired transformed labor market in the continent. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. እንደምን አደራችሁ? Allow me to mix a bit of language here. I think the question is very critical. There is one, what the labor market needs. It changes in time. There is a dynamic there. And then your question is, should we do to keep the people up to speed to this rapid changing labor market? So I am not going to share with you a theory here. I am just going to share you what we did. When I was here, I was a president of Bahar Dar University, and I am still engaged here. And also in Rwanda, I am the vice chancellor of university, Kepler College. Our board chairperson is here, Ambassador Charles. So basically, there are 3 pathways we focus on. The first one is we are a university. So how can you design a university that is dynamic, that can produce young people that catch up to the labor market? ዩኒቨርሲቲ ውስጥ የሚሰጥ ትምህርት እንዴት አድርገን ከሚለዋወጠው ገበያ ላይ ካለው ፍላጎት አንፃር እንዴት መቅረጽ ይቻላል? So what we did in Rwanda is we implemented what we call competency-based learning. Basically, our students, when they come, year 1 is what we call foundational skill. These are skills that the student need no matter what they do, whether they are, they are a physicist, whether they are engineer, whether they are medicine, they need that skill. This is what the current labor market needs. These are communication, problem solving, and so on. And the learning style, we say students learn when they are challenged to think and do. There are 2 things here, think and do. In the class, if the students are not challenged to think, if the students are not given an opportunity to do, there is no learning. So competency-based learning is basically this: in the class, the teacher doesn't preach. Instead, they give them cases, projects that the student has to work on. ምን ማለት ነው? ክፍል ሲመጡ ልጆቹ የሚሰጣቸው ከሚያውቁት ከባቢያዊ ሁኔታ ያለ ችግር ይሄ አለ እና ይሄን እንዴት መፍትሄ ታመጣለህ ነው የሚሆነው ማለት ነው። ያ ሲሆን ማሰብ ይጀምራል። ማሰብ ዋነኛ የአንድ ሰው የመማር ምልክት ማሰብ መቻል ነው ማለት ነው። ሁለተኛ ማሰብ ብቻ አይደለም፣ ካሰቡ በኋላ መስራት ይጠይቃል። ስለዚህ ፕሮጀክት አለው፣ ወጦ መስራት አለው ማለት ነው። So we assess competencies, not grades. Because of that, and then we have what we call career services with employer. 400 employers, they come and share to our students. So right now with the university, we have 90% employment within 6 months in Rwanda. The other thing we do is, there are universities like Addis Ababa University and other big universities that train students at a big scale. My former university in Bahar Dar, we used to have 53,000 students. I think now it's similar number. So our program for the changing labor market, what we design is what we call short-term training, upskilling.
We were fortunate, the minister is here with the skills and labor in Ethiopia. With TVET, we partner. We trained 3,500 Ethiopian here in Addis. 85% of them was able to employed in 1 year. What did we do? The TVETs provide the technical training, but the labor market needs more than the technical training. I remember I went to the Tagvaret classroom. The student was learning about electric motor, and then I asked them, okay, I am an employer. Tell me about electric motor. What can you do with me? They were not able to answer, but they have the knowledge. I told them, okay, can you repair it? Yes, that is a skill you can sell. Can you maintain small maintenance? Can you operate? If I bring a new electric motor, can you read the manual and repair? They say, so that's training, like by adding, we make them employable. That's another. Another one in Ethiopia again, we partner with Chromaway in Sweden. It's a blockchain programming. What we did is that we designed, another model is, to answer your question, to partner with industry. Chromaway is a big company in Sweden that do blockchain programming. What we did, we partner with them. Okay, we say, okay, we can recruit people from Ethiopia, from Addis Ababa Science and Technology University, from Bahar Dar University, from University of Rwanda. We recruit them. Together, we train them online. And they are working, actually, sitting here now, to a program in, in Sweden. This is one way, like really partner with a company, get training, and then quickly, they are very fast learner. So this is another showcase. In Rwanda also, we partner with all polytechnic, the same model we did in Ethiopia. Actually, that model has been adopted by the government, and it has been scaled all through. ባጭሩ ከሚለዋወጠው የሌበር ማርኬት ጋር በቀጥታ መሄድ የሚቻለው በአካባቢያችን ያለውን ችግር እያሹ እዛ ጋር ያለውን ኦፖርቹኒቲ ሌበር ማርኬቱ አካባቢያችን ላይ አለ ሲቀየር ምን እናየዋለን ከዛ ጋር እንዴት አድርገን ራሳችንን ምን አይነት ስልጠና ምን አይነት እንትን ብናረግ ነው የሚሻል የሚለው ለኔ ባጭሩ ሁለት ነገር ነው ያለው አንደኛ የሚያስቡና የሚሰሩ እስከሆኑ ልጅ ድረስ ልጆቹ በራሳቸው ወይ ወጣቱ በራሱ ከቻፕ ያረጋል ነው አንድ ይሄ ነው ሁለተኛ በቀላሉ የማይለዋወጠው የዩኒቨርሲቲ ካሪኩለም በጣም ከባድ ስለሆነ ስሞል ትሬኒንግ በጣም ወሳኝ ናቸው የሚል ነው
Thank you very much, moderator. First and foremost, I want to thank the Minister of Labor and Skills, Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and her team for inviting us to come and attend this very important forum. The question is very clear, and I'm happy that also the educationists are here with us. It's very important. And I think you hit the nail on the top. But what if we are talking of transformation of our labor market? They go hand to hand. Transforming the labor market means that creating more jobs. Yesterday I was ambushed by a certain lady yesterday. I was actually not prepared to come and be part of the panel. It's only yesterday. But I said it's okay, that's fine. I actually summarized the question into some points that I will go through it. Number one, for us to transform the labor market is for us to promote economic diversification. We have to diversify our economy. Doing what? Investing in agro-business, manufacturing, green economy, ICT, and services, if we really want to transform our economy. Encourage value addition by turning our raw coffee into package sold globally. And he said our coffee is taken raw. We really need to package it here so that we support local policies in mining, oil, gas, and construction. Number two, support micro, small, medium enterprises. By doing what? They are actually the largest creators of jobs and responsible for the development of any country. So improve access to finances and credit, especially for youth and women. Improve access, avail training and access to the market. Yesterday, the ladies actually took us through their businesses. It is a good initiative, but we have to help them to have access to the market. We don't leave them to go and look for the market themselves. As a government, I think we really need to help them to access the market. And then make the registration, licensing, tax, and regulatory framework simple. You know, sometimes we give them headache. We don't give them room, actually, for them even to manage this regulatory framework. So we need to make it simple so that they can carry actually on with their businesses. Number 3, invest in skill development and education. There is mismatch between what young people are learning and the need of the market. And I'm very happy that the two have actually highlighted. Really, we want to know what do we really need, we the African, what do we need for us to develop? So if we identify the needs, and then it means that we have to get our education toward that, so that we meet the need of the market. And it's actually is a challenge to you, the education is. And then promote digital literacy. We have people in the rurals, and they have to know now the world is changing. We have to give them that. Build partnership between school, vocational training centers, industries, and government, so that we actually work together and transform the market, all of us. So we have to dialogue. We have to create that partnership. Number 4, develop labor-intensive infrastructure. Doing what? Work, road, water, energy development absorb considerable number of workers. Use private and public partnerships with job creation targets, and gender must be included in infrastructure projects, which is really very important if we have done that. Number 5 is strengthen labor market governance. We are having actually a problem of how do we govern the labor. 1, develop national employment policies to protect workers' rights. Strengthen labor inspection and formalization of informal sector. Promote social dialogue between government, employers, and workers. Number 6 is harness digital and green economies. Africa digital transformation and climate adaptation need can drive jobs and can actually transform our market. Expand internet infrastructure and technical ecosystem. Promote e-commerce, remote and gig platforms. Support green jobs in solar energy and sustainable farming, which is really very important. Number 7, promote regional integration and trade, which is really a core into this forum. Trade within Africa creates new market for African producers and businesses. Implement African continental free trade area and facilitate movement of labor goods and services. Harmonize regulation and reduce trade barriers. We have really a serious problem along our border. Number 8, which is second to the last, invest in agriculture and rural development. Agriculture still employs 50% of youth and women. Modernize farming technologies and supply chain. Encourage agro-processing industries to increase value addition. Support land reform and rural infrastructure. We have also a problem whenever investors come. In some countries, they don't get land even to to make their business. Number 9, encourage diaspora engagement and investment. Diaspora, they are very important for development, but at the same time also, they can destroy whatever you have. There are people who are very far, so but engaging them, they offer actually skill, capital, and global network. Develop incentive for diaspora investment in local businesses, establish diaspora bonds, crowdfunding mechanism. The last, which is very important for us, we the ministers, it's policy, coherence, and political will. Because without that, whatever we are doing, if there is no political will, nothing will go. So without this, reform will not take place. So align education, investment, industries, trade, and labor policies. Align all of them. Lastly, mobilize youth and women voices in policy design and monitoring. If we achieve all this, I think we would have transformed our market and therefore also creating more jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Samuel. I represent the African Union Commission, and thank you for inviting us. We are glad to participate here from the sector of labor and employment. Let me start with an analogy. When you go to the supermarkets, you go to the retail shops in winter, you find that there are heavy jackets. They are clothes that are prepared for winter for people to keep warm. But in summer, those shops, when you go to the same shops, they would have changed and adapt to the new environment because now it is hot, and the types of clothes that are provided, you can see that it's for summer, it's for a hot season. Now the season, Mr. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, that we have entered into is a season of fourth industrial revolution. That's where we are going, and the labor market is also changing. So indeed, the digital economy, the digital technologies are reshaping the labor market. And now, if you go to member states, or if you consider the technologies that are available in our various countries, the question is, as I spoke about this analogy, the adaptation, agility, moving to the new season. Now the question is, is Africa ready to participate meaningfully in the artificial intelligence industries? Is Africa ready for coding, for instance? Because this is the new technologies. This was more pronounced during the coding was more pronounced, or the demand for coding was more pronounced during the COVID-19 period, where the work was moving to an online work. Our country is ready for cybersecurity. Let us make an example. We all know that we need cybersecurity, but the gadgets, the technology that is required to be installed in our computer systems, where does it come from? Does it come from Africa, or it comes from the global north, from other countries? I think that is the question, responding to your question, Mr. Moderator, to look at inequalities. If we don't adapt and move quickly to be able to manufacture these technologies on our own, then Africa will remain behind. The robotics, are our countries ready to move into the technologies on robotics, machine learning, e-commerce? What we see these days, especially if you look at the youth, when they order gadgets and as well as Sometimes even clothes, they order it online. And this is type of the e-commerce, and this is where this is the direction of the trade and economics. But also the Internet of Things. How is our connectivity in our countries? Well, by this, Mr. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen, we are mentioning all these, but a few. To respond to your question, what is needed is for investment. So our countries has to heavily invest on these technologies to leapfrog our economy so that we're able to remain relevant to the economy, so that the future of work and our youth will be able to get jobs and to create jobs. Let's just make an example. I've been here in Ethiopia for about 10 years. When I came here, you would not be able to transact using a gadget. But now you go to an app and be able to transfer. And that is what we are talking about, agility and be able to innovatively move to the digital ecosystem. So, Mr. Moderator, I would like to mention these few, but also maybe the last example that I want to provide. We also, in our sector, work in the migration and mobility. What we have seen is a heavy investment on digitizing the borders, so that when you pass through the borders, you use digital gadgets. And the question is, where does the technology come from? If the technology is still coming from abroad, or the manufacturing is done abroad, and then you import these gadgets that are used at the borders, it means we are importing our jobs and we will remain behind. And therefore, we need to invest locally in order to be able to leapfrog our economies. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comprehensive and complementary answers. So before I open it up to the audience, I just want to pivot from the first question, which was around job creation and our job creation systems, and sort of zoom in on one specific topic. And I'm going to invite just one of the speakers to build on their answer from what I heard. And then we will open up for the audience to ask a few questions in the short time that we have left. So I'll ask for a brief answer. My follow-up question is actually for the last but not least of the speakers, Dr. Sabelo. And you mentioned investment. And I think investment is one of the critical questions. We are a continent that can provide, we have many resources. We talk about minerals and we talk about agriculture, but people is one of those areas where the investment, not just from the public sector, but from the private sector, is way below international benchmarks. You know, companies, we've profiled companies around the continent, and their investment in people is a fraction of what in Europe, in North America, in Asia, that investment is. Now, when we also look at skills, and I'm going to zoom in now on investment in skills, we see, you know, in the old days, to get a job, you had to have a set of skills. Today, to keep your job, you need to actually reskill and upskill continuously just to keep your job. The job description changes from one day to the next because the business changes. The organizations are more adaptive. So how do we invest in skilling systems to upskill and to reskill, not just by the public sector, but by the private sector, in order to ensure that our young people can be competitive? Because as you mentioned, I'm also going to pick up on this, that borders are now digital. Borders are not always critical. In the past, you could go to a country and get a job. Today, you can get a job in a country without even visiting that country. So how do we compete in a global marketplace? Because that's a two-way street. And how do we invest in skilling systems? I'm going to ask you to briefly respond to that before we open up for the audience. Thank you.
I could jump in, Mr. Moderator. Thank you. The emphasis is on STEM skills, the science and technology and mathematics and engineering. That's where we can be able to create a shift in the skills sets that we produce from our institutions. And therefore, there needs to be more investment in our institutions of higher learning, but also at a high school level to be able to instill the STEM skills for social engineering, so that the skills that we produce are skills that are relevant and that we're able to create jobs in the future. And that is the only way we will be able to survive and to remain relevant in the global scheme of things.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to now open it up to the audience. I'd like you to ask your question briefly, introduce yourself, and please state to who your question is addressed, or if it's to anybody who wants to pick it up. Thank you. We have the first hand. Can we get the microphone? And then we'll come to you. The gentleman at the front.
Thank you very much. Very elaborate contribution to this very important topic. My name is Rashid Pelpu, the Minister for Labor, Jobs and Employment from Ghana. I just want to find out from the first speaker or contributor exactly how long it took to develop the labor, the market information system here. Who manages it? Was it sponsored by the government here, or by contribution from, or by the World Bank? Also to my friend, the MP from Honorable Mav, you mentioned elaborately the transformative system, MIS system, how it can be developed in a reformative manner. Specifically, do you have one in your country? How long has it been? Thank you.
Thank you. Let's group 2 or 3 questions. The gentleman in the second row. This way. This way.
Yeah. Thank you very much to all our panelists. My name is Hilary Businge, and I head labor productivity in Uganda. Well, my question is to the ELMIS presenter. I needed to know, he touched a bit on inclusion. If you look at Africa's informality, over 85% of employment are in informal sector. Also, our women in employment, over 90% in Africa, are in the informal sector. So my concern is how, on the inclusion aspect, have we, as the team or doing the LMIS, allowed or provided for inclusion, when especially those special interest groups, to ensure that they are not left out, especially for categories of women who cannot read, who cannot write. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have time for one more question. I'm going to give an opportunity for a female to speak, because we haven't had a female participant yet this morning. So the lady in the third row.
Okay, thank you. My name is Sifeni Yasu. I'm a young innovator that's still learning. My question would be for the 2 professors. So as a student that's currently learning and to be graduated next year, I have a startup on manufacturing. And my campus, God bless them, they are supporting us in every way they can. I learned at Addis Ababa Sensing Technology, we have Innovation Hub. They're also supporting us by giving us access to funding. But outside our campus, it's not safe, especially as a manufacturing startup, because first we would be needing higher capital, relatively, and also it would also take us a longer time to profit. So when we actually went out on different competitions, the first thing we would be told is that since it's not easy to apply, we're not their favorable place to invest. So my question is for both of you, if there's any recommendation you would give us, one. And second, is there a way we can make ourselves shine outside of our country? Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to invite Berhanu to come and speak, as two of the questions were from LMIS. Can you come to the microphone?
Thank you so much. So I have two questions in terms of the development of LMIS. As I try to explain in my presentation, I think we choose the development process to be a microservice architecture, which allows us to develop one service which can, deploy and implement. In the meantime, the development continues to add more services. So, in terms of development, we develop the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System fully in-house by the Ethiopian professional or experts. And I think it took us, in terms of development, to implement the first microservice in action for like 6 months. But we have tried to see the other proposal from different private sector and different different countries' experience. And when we see, in terms of development, we have seen the proposal. It says to develop 6 or 3 microservices, it will take more than 6 years. We have seen that proposal. So the government took the initiative and tried to see if there is any mechanism to develop in-house so that we can match our need. So the development, the first microservice to be implemented, it will take, I think it took 6 months. So as of now, we developed more than 19 microservice. I think 3 or 5 microservices are left, and still we are in development and in implementation. So in terms of funding and support, we try to coordinate different development partners in terms of financial support, and we try to get some resource with our development partners, and we also get some technical support from the ILO, International Labour Organization. So combine all this effort, I think we have, in terms of development, we took, I think, 2 years. We have been in 2 years. In terms of, I think, the second question, in terms of inclusiveness, I think we have to see the question into 3 phases. The first one, in terms of language, we try to integrate or give the Ethiopian Labor Market Information System give the service at least in 5 major local language. So we try to be more inclusive in terms of language, in terms of disability. The system should have a technology to be inclusive. For example, for disabled person, for example, for a blind person, who can have all the service through the voice command and voice recognition through our LMIS. In terms of technological literacy, we have a service more than 2,200 one-stop service centers that are located on the low level of government. And they have more than 10,000 employees to give a sister service for the people who have a technology gap. So we try to provide for a sister service through our one-stop service center. So we try to more inclusive. I think this is a question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to give everybody a chance to make a brief response. Would you like to go?
I think there was a question directed to me by Minister from Ghana. South Sudan, we are the youngest country that experienced 38 years of war. And up to today, we are still at war, recurring war within ourselves. But besides that, our population is between 10 to 12 million. Out of that, 72% is youth. And there's no job, there are no infrastructures, no enough skill development, and therefore they are very easily agitated by politicians and fight their war. But despite the fact that we are experiencing those, we are also working to develop our labor market. We have not a big number, but we are, as a government, we are running 7 big vocational training centers, and we have a good number of private. And so far, from 2016 up to 2024, we've trained 76,000 youth and women in vocational training, which is also is not enough. We have developed our labor market information system. Actually, we put the system in its place. But we are still on the process of making the labor force survey for the whole country, which also is not easy. Given our problem as African, we don't have resources. So we are asking other people to help us to make that labor survey in the country. But actually, we are in advanced stage. We have developed actually employment policies. We have developed also migrant workers policies, because our country, it is a transit, it is a region, and it is a destination. We have so many migrant workers in the country. We have developed policies so that we protect them. They come, of course, with the knowledge. And we are working also on the cross-border regulations. And you know, and one of our problems that we don't actually manage, all of us, our borders. And that's why when we talk of regional integration, it is very important. But with our situation, and giving our region here, you said just region here, I think we have only 1 or 2 countries who have no problem. Most of the countries, they have a problem. So people migrate in different way. Sometimes you run away for your life. Sometimes you go there looking for a greener pasture. It is very important for us even to control. And sometimes also the criminals also come with them. You know, I think from East Africa, people come from Kenya, from Uganda, from anywhere. They pass through South Sudan to Darfur, and then to Libya. You know, it is really a very big problem that at least we really need to work on it as a region here. It is important. So we are working to do that. At least through regional integration, I think the Ethiopian, our neighbors here, or anywhere, they will help us actually setting some of our laws and regulations, and we will benefit actually from their experiences. And very soon we are going to sign an MOU with them so that they can actually invest fully in South Sudan. In South Sudan, we have 30 million cows, cattle in South Sudan, and 13 million goats, and 12 million sheep. You know, hide and skin is left to hyenas or to dogs or to anything. We are not actually benefiting from anything. And now in Ethiopia here, you have the best shoes here. The ladybags and jackets and what. I think we will invite them to go and turn all this into productive things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to invite last comment to the questions.
I would like to reflect on your question, the young engineer. You don't have to look far.
You have to come to
I mean, look, God gave us, for Africans, disproportionately huge natural resource. Farming with arable lands, and then mining, as I said before. So we need you as an engineer to work on farms. You see, the AI and IoT, big data works for farming too. So you can revolutionize the farm. I mean, you can design drones, you can design sensors, soil sensors, you can design solar energy for irrigations. You can do a lot in mining and farming. So focus your area of interest in these areas, like in our endowment on mining and then farming. And then farming will give us to agricultural-led industry. So we can have food processing companies, textiles, and all those stuff. All those fields is open to you. The other one, what about the uneducated women? You see, this is, interestingly, the scholars in Africa and the educators, we need to focus on stackable trainings. You know, micro trainings, like maybe start from writing and reading and then go to more complex trainings. So that way we can upskill and reskill those people in informal industries, informal activities.
Thank you very much. I'm very much glad to hear from the young scholar who raised an important questions on how to continue working as entrepreneurs. Yes, what you have said is right. At universities, we are providing some kind of support in the Compassion Center to let students have the mindset of being an entrepreneur to create jobs than seeking jobs. And you are working on that, and that is the beginning of your career. And we want you to be motivated, and I'm very much happy to see you as an enthusiastic scholar in the field. What you need to do is continue working, develop your proposal with the support of your mentors, and submit it to the private, public, and whoever interested in your work. Don't give up. Work hard on that, so that you'll find someone who would provide you with some kinds of finance and technology to support you. I think there's also a need to develop policies to support youngsters like this to continue working in what they have learned in the school. In the universities, you are getting accustomed to what you need to do, but that's not the end of your career. Upskilling, reskilling is required, and I think the support will continue with the participation of the Ministry of Employment and Industry to make your dreams alive. Thank you.
Maybe for me, first I congratulate you. I really admire you. When I was at your stage, I never think about this. Many of us by then would, so congratulations. Second, I think that if you unpack it, maybe we can meet in private, and then through network, we can see what is manufacturing, what is it? What do you manufacture? Is there a market for it? And then maybe through network, you are right, there are some external funders that could invest in your company. But the key cut here is that if you produce it today, is there a market for it? That I will leave it there.
If you have.
We can just close by saying, seeing that there is the demographic dividend. The African Union has developed what we call the yes strategy, youth employment strategy for Africa. And the emphasis on this strategy is on digital economy, focusing on digital economy, but focusing on skills development, particularly the skills related to ICTs. So that's what AU has done, but also wanted to make a comment on LMIS, the labor information, the labor market information systems, that the African Union also provides capacity building on development of LMIS at member state level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So just to recap a couple of key points before we go for the coffee break. We heard about the need for public infrastructure, the labor market information system, the need for skilling systems, the need for labor-friendly and skill-friendly policies across government, whether it's in the agriculture sector or in the land departments. We also heard that there's a major opportunity to export high-skilled jobs and to think not just domestically or even regionally, but to think globally. And the one takeaway I think I really come at this from is that the playing field is really being leveled. In the old days, borders and geography and so on mattered a lot more. In the digital world, those things matter a lot less. And we are now in a more level global playing field, which can be an opportunity. It can also be a threat. And therefore, I think as countries, we need to lean in and lead the way in embracing this transformation with our particular, assets of young people, of the world's workforce. By 2050, I think 1 in 2 workers will be an African. This is our asset. And therefore, we need to prepare and ready for this new world that we enter with our Gen Z and Gen Z and all their terms and all their language which we don't understand, we need to understand. So with that, I close. Thank you very much. Over to the MC. Thank you so much for the esteemed panel.
And please join me in thanking Ato Nabil, founder and managing partner of First Consult, for moderating this session so time consciously as well, and was a very, very interesting conversation we've had. I know we could have drawn much more from out of this, but due to time, we have to just let it go at that. But we say yes as we finish this session. Youth Employment Strategy, as you just heard. Thank you so very much. So before we go out for the coffee break, just a reminder of the sessions, upcoming sessions. We'll have 2 concurrent sessions, one here at the Pan-African Hall and the next at Hidase. So the one happening here will be skills development to catalyze infrastructure investment in Africa. So those of you who are interested in this area can directly come here. Otherwise, if you are interested in cross-border trade facilitation, so you go to Hidase Hall. After 20 minutes of coffee break, we'll be more time conscious this time, so please use your time properly. In the afternoon, we'll only have 2 parallel sessions, and there is an arranged tour, specifics of which we'll be giving you before the lunch break. So enjoy your coffee break. Time counting down now to 20 minutes. Thank you. Enjoy your time. Welcome back, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. This session, just to remind you of the two parallel sessions that are happening at this moment. Here at the Pan-African Hall, we have the skills development to catalyze infrastructure investment in Africa. So you stay here if you're only interested in this area. Otherwise, you go to Hidasi Hall, which is upstairs, if you're interested in cross-border trade facilitation panel. So that I think is almost about to start. This one we're waiting for Her Excellency the Minister, as she will be the keynote speaker to open this panel. So as soon as she rejoins us, we'll start the session. The other session at the Dasse Hall has already started, so if you're interested in joining that one, you can go now. Thank you. To also give you a bit of a glimpse of what is in the afternoon, we'll have after the lunch break. By the way, at any opportunity, you can also visit the exhibition, which is right across this hall, to look for products such as leather products, textile products, a host of amazing souvenirs you may want to take home. So after lunch, we'll have two parallel sessions. Here at the Africa Hall, we have digital finances for rural SMEs. And the other one at Hidasi Hall is building digital public infrastructure for jobs, inclusion, and regional trade under AFCFTA. Just to give you a highlight of the afternoon sessions, but we'll give you more details and confirmed schedules as we get closer to the time. Also a reminder of our city tour, arranged city tour program this afternoon for all our delegates and participants. So transportation has been made ready, but we'll give you the specific arrangements before we break for lunch later today. So we have one session before lunch and one other session after lunch. Of course, there are two sessions happening concurrently. So we'll start the session as soon as we have Her Excellency the Minister here back in session. Thank you. Excellency Ministers, delegates, AEC representatives, participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and thank you for rejoining us for the last session of the morning. Well, it's past the noon, but that's the second session and the last before lunch, which is on skills development to catalyze infrastructure investment in Africa. The room looks a bit dispersed. If you would please be joining the middle column, so we have people on this middle column for all of us to be like in one area. So would you please move from either side of the hall to the middle column. Thank you. And a reminder for you again, if you're interested in the policy dialogue aligning CAADP and FCFTA for jobs, your session is at Hadassah Hall, so you can still go and join that. Thank you so much once again, ladies and gentlemen. Africa's infrastructure boom requires more than capital. It needs skilled talent. This session will spotlight the critical skills needed to attract, absorb, and lead large-scale infrastructure projects. To open this session with a keynote address, I will have the distinct honor and privilege to invite none other than Her Excellency Madam Muferihat Kamil, Minister of the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the host ministry. Would you please give her a warm welcome to open this session with her keynote remarks.
Good day. I think it's about for lunch, right? No, it's gonna. ይቅርታ ብያለሁ ስሪ ብቻ ነው የምባለውና ረፊ ሚል ስለሌለ ሌላ ስራ ኖሮኝ ነው. I'm asking an apology for my fellow sisters and brothers. We were engaged in some bilateral meetings and signing memorandum of understanding with our partners, and that's why. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, partners, ladies and gentlemen, it's with great humility and profound sense of purpose that I welcome you to all this important high-level session on skills development to catalyze infrastructure investment in Africa. On behalf of the government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, I once again extend our deep appreciation to our co-organizers, the African Union Commission, the A-Trade Group, and all our continental and global partners. We gather here in Addis Ababa not only as the seat of the African Union, but as a city that represents Africa's aspiration for unity, prosperity, and self-reliance. Today's session couldn't be more timely. It has been said and well noted that our continent is undergoing a demographic transition that presents both a challenge and a historic opportunity. We are also acutely aware that Africa's infrastructure deficit is one of the most significant constraints to economic integration and productivity. However, we must also recognize that it's our greatest opportunity to create millions of meaningful jobs, stimulate inclusive growth, and unlock regional value chains. Yet we are aware infrastructure is key, but roads, power, logistics alone will not drive transformation without the human capital to sustain it. We must invest with equal urgency in the people, in our youth who will design, build, operate, and maintain Africa's next generation infrastructure. In Ethiopia, skills development is central to our national reform and resilience strategy. We are making efforts to align education and training systems to emerging labor market demands, particularly in priority sectors such as manufacturing, ICT, agriculture, tourism, mining, as well as in other cross-cutting sectors such as logistics, construction, energy, trade facilitation, to name but a few. It's not without a reason Ethiopia's Ministry of Labor has consciously dovetailed itself with skills, so named as the Ministry of Labor and Skills. It's because we have recognized the indispensable role skills development plays in human capital development for building a robust labor market. As it was presented in earlier panel, the Ethiopian labor market information system has played and is playing and will continue to play a pivotal role in transforming our labor market. Through our technical and vocational education and training reform and labor market strategies, we are working to modernize and digitize vocational learning, foster stronger linkage between training institutions and industry, and empower youth and women through demand-driven programs tailored for the 21st century economy. And it was interesting to listen to one of the panelists that how they are doing, preparing the human capital for the current demand of the market, considering the 21st century scale. And our TVET institutes, I hope my brother Dr. Teshale is here with us. He will deep dive later on regarding how the Ethiopian TVET system reform is undergoing. Most importantly, we are reorienting our TVET curricula with entrepreneurial mindset and patriotism and professional ethics, since we are convinced without these soft skills and attributes, investment on infrastructure wouldn't be viable. Again, this is very critical intervention in terms of soft skills. As an African, as a generation, having the responsibility of ensuring a comprehensive and a complete independence of Africa, apart from political independence, Africa has to be economically independent. So to realize this independency, the generation has the responsibility of realizing this independency through the initiatives we have been discussing since yesterday, including economic development and job creation. We also aspire to create Green TVET that would integrate environmental sustainability and green skills into our TVET programs. Ethiopia has also consciously aligned its overseas employment scheme with the TVET system, which not only equips citizens with skills, but also certificates the desired competence for deployment. In this regard, we seek partnership to lay groundworks for our TVETs to establish skill mobility, partnerships, and collaboration with Africa and beyond. In this regard, we need more community-oriented partners like ETRED to equip our urban and rural citizens with inclusive digital, soft skills, and entrepreneurial competencies, financial literacy, and e-commerce readiness. These are not abstract skills. They are tools for economic participation, resilience, and leadership. Excellencies, distinguished guests, the scale of the infrastructure challenge in Africa demands a few paradigms, one where skills development is not an afterthought, but a core pillar of infrastructure planning, financing, and implementation. Let us build roads that connect cities, but let us also build systems that connect people to opportunity. Let us develop bridges and power plants, but let's also empower the youth who will design and manage the systems of the future. I urge all actors, member states, regional economic communities, development finance institutions, private investors, and regional training providers to prioritize skills and innovation ecosystem as strategic enablers of our continental infrastructure agenda. Let's match capital with competence. Let's match policy with people. Let's match ambition with action. In doing so, we will not only close Africa's infrastructure gap, we will ignite a generation capable of leading our continent into a new era of shared prosperity and resilience. I thank you, and I look forward to insightful dialogue that will follow. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Madam Muferihat Kamil, Her Excellency Minister of the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, for that powerful call to action and commitment to all stakeholders to empower youth of Africa and create the necessary jobs, and also upskilling the youth to be more productive. Her Excellency Madam Muferihat is widely recognized as a long-standing dedicated leader in government in different responsibility areas, widely leadership in governance, gender equality, and institutional transformation in Ethiopia. And recently, she's championing the Ethiopian transformation in the landscape of jobs, skills, labor, entrepreneurship in Ethiopia, and she's had a great deal of accolade in championing that landscape. Would you please congratulate her again for yet realizing another milestone in launching the Africa Job Creation Forum? Congratulations, Madam Muferihat. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now lead into our panel discussion with an introduction of the moderator, if you let me. His Excellency Dr. Teshala Berecha will be our moderator of the session. He is currently serving as Ethiopia's State Minister for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, TVET, at the Ministry of Labor and Skills. His Excellency Dr. Teshala is a strong proponent of demand-driven skills development. He also spearheaded the launch of the agro-processing sector skills body in August 2024, fostering industry-linked training through ILO-supported platforms. His Excellency Dr. Teshala champions the modernization of TVET centers with green infrastructure and advanced technologies to boost training quality and employability. His leadership focuses on strengthening public-private partnerships and aligning skills development with regional economic corridors to drive youth employment and industrial growth. His Excellency Dr. Teshala holds a PhD in technology management from Cebu Technological University in the Philippines. He also earned his MA in project management and MSc in hydrogeology from the Addis Ababa University, with a BSc, of course, in applied geology from Mekelle University. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage His Excellency Dr. Teshala Berecha, State Minister of the Ministry of Labor and Skills of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. His Excellency the Minister will take the next 1 hour to moderate the session. Thank you, sir.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the generous introduction about my profile. And I will call upon my panelists for today. The first panelist for today is His Excellency Mr. Denge Boru. He is State Minister for the Ministry of Transport and Logistics in the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Please welcome, sir. The second, I will invite Mr. Boru Shana, Deputy Director General of the Ethiopian Entrepreneurship Development Institute. Please welcome. Third, I will invite Mr. Nicholas Ouma, Senior Youth Advisor at the African Union Commission. Please join us, sir. The fourth, Ms. Sandra Nicole, CEO of Canadian Association of Architects. Please join us. And another panelist, Mr. Gianluca Azzoni, Head of Policy and Cooperation, European Union. And last but not least, Mr. Habte Bayene, Topan Security Ethiopian representative. Please join us to the stage. Thank you. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, esteemed panelists, it is an honor and privilege to welcome you all to this special session on skill development to catalyze infrastructure investment in Africa. As we gather here, it is a powerful moment to reflect on central role of people, talent, and capabilities in Africa's infrastructure-led transformation. As you all know, infrastructure is more than steel and concrete, and it is about opportunity, connectivity, and human dignity. The roads we build, the power we generate, and the systems we digitalize must all serve a deeper purpose to unleash Africa's productive potential and generate millions of decent future-ready jobs. Studies consistently affirm that we really sense the thing on the ground. Closing Africa's infrastructure gap could raise GDP by 7 to 10%, yet we remain at less than 3% of the global value chain participation. A stark contrast to our continental potential. But let me emphasize, infrastructure without skills is a missed opportunity. As we, governments and investors, mobilize capital, we must also ask, do we have the talent to design, deliver, and manage these complex systems? Are Euroscoped not just with, are our youths equipped not just with diplomas or certificates, but with the digital, managerial, and technical competencies required in today's interconnected economy? That is the central focus of our today's discussion. In general, to move from building infrastructure for Africans to building infrastructure with Africans and ultimately by Africans. So thank you very much, my panelists, for coming. And I will ask you two brief questions. It's an open question for all of you, and then you will reflect. The first question will focus on the demand and supply of skills in the labor markets, particularly in infrastructure development. So as per your thought, which specific technical and leadership skills are currently in shortest supply and most critical to attracting and delivering high-impact infrastructural investment in Africa. You can consider a range of priority areas, can be transport, logistics, energy, or whatever. So this is my first question. And the second question, you can reflect on any of the questions. The second question is on the concrete steps, on the concrete mechanisms to be taken by African leaders, African continent, to ensure the proper upskilling and reskilling of our workforce, our professionals, to build robust infrastructure across the continent. So these are my two questions. So in the next few minutes, we are glad to hear from you, our distinguished panelists, to say a few words in brief about these two questions. So the floor is yours. I can start from next to me. So please start.
Thank you very much. I'm really delighted to be here, and I feel humbled to start as a non-African speaking about the importance of architecture and infrastructure for the continent of Africa. I've been involved with the AE Trade Group for a long time as an ally, and I've worked in executive education around the world in skill building for a long time. So it begs the question of why is a Canadian organization interested in Africa, and what do we have to say here, and should we be saying anything? It's a true question that I ask. So the Canadian Centre for Architecture has been interested in Africa for a long time because we were associated with a group called African Architecture Matters. And we were entrusted with their archive, and we have been investing in the continent since then in skill building and doing work on the continent and trying to collect stories on the continent. But what we think about specifically to the first question is to deliver high-impact infrastructure. It's more than engineers and concrete and roads and these sorts of things. It's system thinkers. It's civic leaders, and it's creative problem solvers. And so we are working with storytelling, integrated design and planning, and trying to share those stories and collect those stories across the continent. And it's about creative and digital infrastructures. And so one of the panelists in the last talk talked about STEM. In Canada, we're talking a lot about STEAM. So science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so for us, the whole bit of storytelling, creative competencies, artistic expression is equally important. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being brief. Yes, Mr. Borg.
All right, thank you very much, His Excellency, Moderator. The issue of building and unlocking the infrastructure capability across Africa and the nexus between this infrastructure development and skill development is a very interesting topic that I found it. And as the fellow panelists said, infrastructure development is just more than concretes and roads and bridges. Is behind those transformative infrastructure projects, what required is 21st century skill-honed human capital across Africa. So when we talk about infrastructure development in Africa, according to African Development Bank reports, Africa's infrastructure deficit is around $1 billion per year. So we couldn't able to unlock the potential of our infrastructure because investment in infrastructure means it's unlocking a lot of jobs. It links with job creation. And I was reading last night that for 1 kilometer of roads, it creates around 200 to 500 jobs. So investment in infrastructure requires a skilled labor force, a skilled human capital across Africa. The homegrown skill how could be accessible, cheaper, who can deliver infrastructure projects as per the standard required in an efficient manner. And then if this infrastructure fail, we will have an opportunity to acquire those skills to maintain and fix those infrastructure. So skill development, as to me, is a foundation for unlocking infrastructure investment in Africa. So these critical skills, as to me, is very important. 3 aligned critical skills that are not in a critical shortfall across Africa. One is the availability of skilled labor force, technically skilled, for example, trained engineers, trained construction workers that are being graduated from our technical and vocational institutions and universities. So there is huge deficit in terms of building those skills, and we are relying more on external skills, importing, engineers and construction workers and project managers from elsewhere. So bridging this gap is very important. So it requires high level of investment in technical skill development through our existing institutional framework. The second critical important skill that we should leverage to unlock the infrastructure capability and solve the structural challenge across Africa is the entrepreneurial talent. The entrepreneurial talent means the local entrepreneurs, SMEs, startups, and even large firms and corporates who have value creation projects, who have capability to design, operate and implement infrastructure projects which are affordable at the grassroots level. So we are mostly looking at the mega project that is implemented at national level, but there is huge deficit in terms of availabilities of entrepreneurial talent, nurturing entrepreneurial capabilities at the grassroots level so that they can solve a infrastructure challenge at local level in a more efficient way. The third important skill gap is the ability to integrate technology and digital solutions in infrastructure development. So if these 3 skills are aligned, I think there is a possibility to unleash this, bridge the gap of this infrastructure deficit, at the same time unlock the potential of job creation across Africa. So to change this, Entrepreneurship Development Institute, Ministry of Labor and Skills, through the leadership of Her Excellency, and His Excellency also, Dr. Teshale, we have been implementing a lot of interventions to bridge this gap. For example, one of the areas that we look at is skills development in technical and vocational institutions. One of the critical skill areas is entrepreneurial leadership. We call it the public entrepreneurial leadership. Because this high impact, value creating infrastructure project requires leadership, system thinkers that will look into the challenge in the local areas, the leaders of technical and vocational training institutions, who can see opportunities in their surroundings, see how unleashing this opportunity could solve infrastructure challenge, along the way also create jobs for the young population in the area. So the public entrepreneurial interventions that we have done in the TVET sector has already yielded a lot of results, multiplier effects. By training only the TVET leadership, we have now seen that the whole system could transform. Some of the TVET institutions have started making themselves relevant in the community, building bridges, building roads, and creating a lot of jobs down the line. So these are some of the value creations that has been done through the interventions that we have done. The other area is the investments that we have made in the TVET system through skill competition programs to support infrastructure entrepreneurs. So infrastructure entrepreneurs are startup SMEs that have special solutions, value-creating solutions that solve, infrastructure problems, and then implemented financing and operated at the grassroots level. So we have, at the high level, we have examples of startups in the renewable energy sector. Currently, we are incubating a startup who have innovated renewable energy, the power solution. It is an off-grid power solution that could be adopted in urban areas, in the rural areas as well. So we see this startup as the potential first unicorn of Ethiopia. So investment in entrepreneurial leadership that could create an enabling environment across the system, and then supporting infrastructure entrepreneurs could bridge that gap. And that is what I want to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tishale. Good afternoon. I think much has been said on the skill, and not only specific to this panel session. From the start of this forum, I want to thank Ministry of Labor and Skill for the passion and leadership and realizing this forum to be hosted here. So, skill is something very vital for not only for infrastructure investment, for overall development and growth of the continent and countries as well. Skill is something that is equally important, like finance, like material supply. Skill is equally important in realizing and changing the concrete, the steels, from where they are to this beautiful hall in which we are sitting. So, skill is very important. Is an engine and also is an invisible infrastructure by itself that truly impacts the infrastructure investment, changing the dam, like for example GERD, the roads, and all other bigger infrastructure projects into true reality so that they can truly serve the people and build the nation. This time, the disparity that we see among emerging economies, developed economies, specifically in our continent, the major lag behind why we are suffering from infrastructure, development, performance-related issues because of the skill gap that we are facing as a continent. The skill, for example, Africa this time is demanding growth. In order to achieve economic development, the skill is one of the enabling factors for economic growth. This demands skill, specifically in areas of operational executions and major projects, managerial leadership areas. There is high skill gaps in our continent. Africa's infrastructure development needs a huge fund. This huge fund is suffering from delays, overrun costs, and so on and so forth. These overrun costs, delays, is because of the skill gaps that we are facing. There are huge, approximately more than $108 billion infrastructure investment gaps as a continent. But from the fund, the real fund towards the infrastructure, when we see from the World Bank report, $3 billion is due to project delays. Such $3 billion is because of the skill gaps, the projects, the infrastructure delays, and it suffers from overrun costs. Not only this, because of the skill gaps, we cannot fill these major finance needed for the infrastructure development. In order to unlock investment and bring investors with the continent in order to form PPP modality, something like that, we need huge skill developments. Africa is a young country, Ethiopia as well. Africa, more than 60% of the population is under 25 or around 30 years. So we can bring a huge skill development to the sector and unlock the potential for infrastructure investment to this continent. So, related with this, there are so many demanding major areas that are requesting us to develop skill in every aspect, specifically in infrastructure investment areas. One is Africa wants to grow in order to enhance and ensure economic growth. As an economic growth enabler, we need to have a skilled human workforce. The second one is, I simply take some very few examples. For example, Africa Continental Free Trade Area is one of the driving forces for continental skill development. Continental Free Trade Area is projected to be grown. For example, on my sector, the freight demand will increase by 28% per year. By 2030, it is supposed to have like 2 million trucks, more than 250 aircrafts, more than 100 vessels. The maritime trade volume will increase. The Continental Free Trade Area is going to create like 2 million jobs. All these jobs need skills for the continent to trade, to grow. The other issue is, all the speakers already noted, 1/3 or 2/3 of the work, global work, continental works, will be automated. It needs reskilling. Because of the technology-driven factors, we need to learn new skills. So, the need to have skill development is very critical and vital. For example, in terms of logistics only, globally, there are few countries that are best performing logistics that have. For example, Germany, Singapore, Netherlands, those countries have developed a human development systematic approach that teaches skills from the higher level to the localized training institutions, integrating the academia with the industry, having a system that build a skill at large level. Because of that, they perform best in logistics skills. Africa, our logistics performance as a continent is 75% higher than the global logistics performance. It is very costly. This is because of the skills gap that we have as a country as well, Ethiopia. Currently, we are doing academia industry linkage. For example, 11 universities teaching supply and logistics system are integrating with the logistics operators and industry as well. So we have to deep dive into local levels with technical and vocational training levels. We have to develop skills. Unless we develop skills, we cannot move forward. Especially in major, the infrastructure need is at high demand. In order to achieve with the what money we have, in order to also attract the investment in this aspect, the skill is critical and must. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Teshala. So, my fellow panelists have mentioned a number of shorter supplies in Africa, and I will focus or zoom in mainly on the sector that I am working. So, Topan Security Ethiopia is engaging in secure printing and provision of digital solutions to Ethiopia and in the near future. Okay, sorry. So I'm just zooming or focusing on the sector that I am working and Top-Line Security Ethiopia is in Africa. And in this security printing, we have e-passports, IDs, and payment cards. And I invite you all to visit our booth at the exhibition center in front of this will during your break time. So you will have some of our products there, the e-passport, the cards, and the like. So in our sector, one of the critical short supplies, professionally skilled manpower in the area of secure digital infrastructure. In the areas like a digital ID specialist, biometric system engineer, and digital or design experts in the area of secure printing. Without these capabilities, basically it's difficult to implement and scalable and trusted identity and border control system that are important for economic integration. Besides this, and from our perspective at TOPAN, still we see a gap in operating specialized machines that are helpful for secure printing, like process engineers and factory operators. So as we expand into new dimensions like security printing, the lack of these local experts in operating this equipment pose a challenge to building self-reliant and sustainable system. And addressing this skill shortage is critical not only for our implementation, but also for...
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, my panelists, for your insights, and I will invite you to quickly reflect on few points, especially on the way out, the concrete steps to be taken in order to ensure quality infrastructure across our beautiful continent, Africa, and also what concrete mechanisms should be taken to ensure regional integration across the whole continent, and if there are ongoing initiatives, for example, at your organization, at your ministry, which you can share to the audience, in terms of improving regional integration, quality infrastructure, and the like. So I will give you 1 to 2 minutes maybe to reflect on these topics. Yeah. Excellency, Mr. Boru, Dange Boru, yeah? You can start from maybe the initiatives from your ministry, yeah, on quality infrastructure development.
Thank you very much, Doctor, again. I will briefly say very few words concerning these ideas, and specific to our country. For example, Ethiopia took massive investment in transport and logistics infrastructure. We have built more than 160,000 kilometers of roads. We have railways. We have ports. As you all know, as a country, we have almost finished the biggest dam in Africa. And the infrastructure development that you see in Addis as well, that can be taken as a role model, are part of the infrastructures that our young engineers, talented professionals have learned a lot from it, specific to designing, operating, maintaining, building, and so on and so forth. As a ministry, in terms of the skill, I only took one example. The Addis Ababa Djibouti Railway was run by Chinese professionals before. Before 1 year, it was run by Chinese professionals before for the last 4 years, starting from 2018. But currently, all the operations, all the activities concerning Addis Djibouti Railway Share Company is overtaken by our national citizen professionals, our young workforces. They learned the talents, they filled the skill gap, the drivers was not ours, the different area activity professional was not ours. Now fully 100% we are running the projects. We have developed a talent in this aspect. Globally, as the different data indicate, investment in human capital today will yield like 1% spent by the risking projects. For example, 1%, $1 spent on a single individual to have a talent of de-risking the investment or whatever it is, will have an economic return of $10 to $15. If we invest $1 for skill development, it will have $10 to $15 economic return. You can imagine how multiplier effect that can be. So, in terms of in transport and logistics, we are reforming the driving skill programs. Massively, we are working on logisticians that we have as a country, working with EFSA, FIATA, higher academias, Ministry of Labor and Skills, so on and so forth. In terms of project management as a country, a best lesson can be learned. In fact, along all sectors, economic sectors, specific to infrastructure investment, much has to be done to have a skill that is needed for the development of overall economic progress. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, if there is any addition from other panelists on the follow-up questions. The floor is yours, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Let me proceed. So, to address the previous shortage in skill in our sector, basically, Topan Security Ethiopia is a strong example of a successful public-private partnership, where one of the core objectives is the transfer of knowledge and skill. So Topan is committed to building local and regional capacity as a foundation for sustainable digital infrastructure. And we will also collaborate with national institutions to co-develop training modules in the area of secure printing. And currently we have sponsored 10 Ethiopian students to take training in China for 6 months. And when they complete this training, they will come back to Addis and they will work in our factory in this secure printing area. And beyond that, definitely this training will be the beginning and will definitely continue in other high-level, high-demand functions areas as well. So, looking ahead, we see tremendous potential in tapping into regional talent pipelines across Africa as the continent's job market grows and digitalization accelerates. We aim to help shape the management, highly skilled African workforce that can lead the development and management of secure digital system, not just in Ethiopia, but across the region. Finally, I would like to say one thing and conclude my speech on that. A year ago, I had my friend, which is a foreigner. She came from a Western country, and I had the chance to take her for a visit to Unity Park and Intoto Park, and she also visited the corridor development. So at the end of our trip, she asked me one question. From where did the government got all this money? And my question was very instant and simple: public-private partnership. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, Madam, do you have any addition from your side?
Well, one of the things that people have referred to as partnerships and collaborations, and one of the things we do is we fund projects here because we learn a lot from what's happening in Africa. And so we fund internships, we fund other programs, and I think the idea, and I was impressed by this, is one of the critical key things, even in large infrastructure projects, is to have a line item in there that demands that people have internships associated with that, because you're mass developing people. And it's important for us, going back to the documentation, is we are trying to document African stories and told by African people for the continent of Africa. And we make that available on our website, in our books. And and here we have the first of an archival story told by 9 different African architects over the years. And we want to create that momentum so that your stories are being documented and told as you go forward.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, now we are coming to the end. Because of time constraint, I could not give a question and answer session for the audience. I would apologize for that. And then, if there is any discussion and question you have, you can talk during coffee break and lunch. Sorry for the inconvenience, and please allow me to conclude this session. Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So it is always an honor and a privilege to hear from such distinguished panelists who are shaping, the future of our continent and also the future of our nations. They came from different organizations, from businesses, from governments, and the others. So what we heard from them is really critical, and what I noted as very critical point is investing on people have a huge return of investment. So investing $1 on the talent of people, the talent of human, will bring huge return on investment. So we take note as African nation to cultivate the talents of our young people and also our citizens. The second one is we need to ensure regional integration across our nations. On this, skill development and infrastructural development will play a great role. For example, Ethiopia is partnering with East African countries like Kenya and Tanzania on an initiative called East African Skills for Regional Integration Project, where we are working to build center of excellences across these 3 nations, in Kenya, Tanzania, and Ethiopia, so that we ensure free mobility of labor across these nations and also free mobility of goods. This would exactly align with the Continental Free Trade Agreement, and it aligns with the Africa we want strategy. So investing on our people and also connecting our nations is critically important. And finally, in terms of skill, what we heard from our distinguished panelists is at this 21st century, having technical skill alone is not enough. We need to have appropriate entrepreneurial skill and also behavioral skills and managerial skills to build robust infrastructure across our nations. Finally, I would encourage the audience to invest on our people and to build our infrastructure and to maintain our infrastructure by ourselves, yeah? So that we will have, a robust infrastructure across Africa. Thank you all for attending this particular session, and sorry for the time constraint, and I think have another session maybe in the afternoon, and which will build on such kind of initiatives. Thank you, my panelists, for coming and sharing your experiences to the audience. And yeah, this is the end of the story. Thank you very much.
Please give a round of applause to the moderator as well as all the panelists for a very, very important and insightful, informative session. We understand there might have been at least a few questions and feedback from the audience, but in the interest of time and not to stand between you and your lunch, we have decided to end the session without your feedback, but feel free to connect to any one of those if you have any specific questions that you want a response to during the break, during the lunchtime, and also the upcoming tour might give us also more opportunities to network. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again very much for a very fruitful morning before we break for lunch. But when we come back, this is a reminder that we'll have two parallel sessions, one happening here. So those of you who are interested in the digital finance for rural SMEs, please join us here in the Pan-African Hall. But if you're interested in building digital public infrastructure for jobs, inclusion, and regional trade under AFCFTA, you go to Hidasi Hall when you come back from, you don't have to come here. You just can directly go there from your lunch. And then afterwards, we'll have a tour, an arranged tour of the city to three very, very important destinations. One is here, the Adwa Victory Memorial. We'll have a quick 30-minute tour of the venue, an amazing place where you can explore and find out about the huge African history of resilience, defiance, and victory. And then we'll go, the team one will be for excellency ministers and heads of delegations. That's only for them. But the rest, don't bother about the teams or team numbers, but coaster buses have been arranged for you to go to National Palace and Science Museum. Everybody will visit these three places in general, but I'll give you more specific details later when we end the afternoon session. Now, we don't have much time. We only have about 50 minutes for lunch, so can we be more vigilant and have lunch and reconvene at 2? Thank you so very much. A big round of applause for everyone who have had great contributions this morning. Thank you. Bon appetit. Enjoy your lunch. So if you have any spare time during the breaks, don't forget to visit the exhibition that I have been announcing repeatedly this morning. Thank you again.
ገባ? This